And then another big point that hit for me is when I realized I will never earn enough. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jennifer. I would love for you to join me in the small but growing family. If you are not subscribed as yet, if you just found me on this video, I do hope that you join us if you like the content that I serve here, because the goal is to make sure that I attract people of the similar mindset, similar drive, in their career path, in their hustling journey, but who also want to make sure that they better their finances. They're always on top of their finances. Those are the people that I want to attract in this channel. And so if I'm talking about you, please make sure that you smash that red subscribe button on the bottom. I'll really appreciate it. And also guys, please do not forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you like the content or if you like what I'm talking about. Today we're going to be looking at financial freedom. Now this is something that is very fond to my heart, something that is very dear to me. However, I find it hard to talk about it to many people because I feel like not many people are at that stage, and so having this conversation with them is kind of very difficult. And sometimes when I have this conversation with some people, it feels like I'm just shooting for the stars, because for them it doesn't make sense. They don't understand how I can get there, because it's not something that we've been taught about. Most of the time what we focus on, especially in our communities, is okay, yeah, let's settle that, let's deal with this and this, but then let's be honest, if you're gonna do all of those things, what is the end goal? Where do you want to see yourself? So that is where I actually am right now. 4 years ago, I decided that, what, I would love to be financially free. 4 years ago, I was still earning lower than what I'm getting paid now. I was still on my previous job, was not so much happy there. However, where I was financially then, it was totally different to where I am now. And I feel like when I made that decision that I want financial freedom, it took time for me to actually understand what is financial freedom, what does it mean for me, and what are the steps that I need to take in order for me to actually reach financial freedom. Now I'm going to break this down to you guys as I talk in this video, just to explain to you what is financial freedom and what are the decisions, what are the things that I've done in order for me to actually be in this journey. Now 4 years ago, I didn't know that I was going to be starting my journey, but I remember telling myself that I would love to see, the thing that I want for myself is to be financially free. And when I described it for myself and I didn't describe it in terms of what is described normally when you search this up, but for me, I wanted to describe it for myself. And how I looked at financial freedom for myself is when I am able to wake up every day and go to work, not because I'm obliged to, but because I want to. That for me is financial freedom. And the part of saying I want to comes in whereby I'm not waking up because I have to make sure that I pay for my expenses. I'm not waking up because I'm being pushed by the amount of debt that I have. And now if I don't go to work, then I'm not going to be able to pay for those debts, which is also not going to be good for me in the long run. And so that is where I was when I looked at financial freedom. I said, I want to get to a point whereby I wake up every day, I go to work because I want to, not because I'm being pushed by the fact that if I don't go to work, that means that I'm not going to get a salary. I don't get a salary, that means I'm not going to pay for my living expenses, including my debts. That is my goal. Now, I remember trying to explain this to one of my colleagues. She was just like, I don't know if that's possible. I know that it's possible for me because once I've set my mind to something, it is very not easy. It's going to be challenging getting there, but once I've told myself that I want to reach that thing, I will definitely work towards that. I looked at the decisions that I've made in the past 3 years when I decided that I actually want financial freedom for my life, and I looked at where I am now. That's when I realized that, this is actually very much possible. Yes, people don't understand this because it hasn't been sold to them. People don't understand what is financial freedom. They don't think it's possible, and that is because many of us are drowning in debt. Many of us we have so many things that we are carrying on our shoulders from the background that we come from, our families and all the stuff. And so we have so much that we are carrying on our shoulders and all the responsibilities that seeing beyond just meeting the monthly obligations is not possible for many of us. And so I wanted to share this because I really do hope that it will inspire someone that is watching this video right now to say, you know what, I would like to have that for my life. And because I feel like if you can have financial freedom, guys, you can have peace in your life. Peace, financial peace. One thing that stresses most of us in this life is finances. It's actually even the reason why many marriages fail. Finances. So if you can have financial peace, I feel like you can go about life so much more better, because even doing small things will be so much easier because you have financial peace in your life. And so let me break it down to you. I've already explained to you what financial freedom means to me, so you can look at it and think, what would financial freedom mean to you? So it can be that, okay, you want to live debt free. That could be financial freedom for you. You want to have this much investment such that if anything were to happen, you know that you're taken care of. That could be financial freedom to you. You want to make sure that your family is independent of you and you can only focus on yourself, because many of us, as I've said, we are carrying so much on our shoulders. That could be financial freedom for you. So you describe it for yourself. What is financial freedom for you? Let me just give you a brief background onto what actually inspired me to actually say I want financial freedom. 4 years ago, I had a lot of debts. I had a personal loan, which I shared a video here, around 100,000 of that personal loan. I had a credit card on top of that, and then I had my family, because at home during that time I was literally the only one that had a decent job, and so everything fell on my shoulders. And so back then I decided that this is not the life. This can't be it. I remember when I was younger wanting to actually be an adult and go out in the working environment so that I can do things for myself and my family. But when I looked at where I was and the projection of where I was going based on my decisions then, I clearly saw that this is not living. This is not what I desired for myself. This is not the picture that I had when I thought of my life as an adult. And so I was drowning in debt. And when I say I was drowning because looking at how much I was getting paid and the amount of debt that I had, it was just too much. It was too much. Even my savings rate during that time was very low. When I tried to save, I tried to do investing. I remember in our open plan office, there was this talk regarding stocks, easy equities, and all the stuff, and we all got into it, And I used to invest. Like there was a time when I had for me at that time it was a lot of money because it was over 10,000. I had that much money on my easy equities, but the challenge that I had was because I had so much debt and my living expenses were so high that whenever something, and also I had no other cushions around my life. I had not set other systems around my life to protect me in case of emergencies and whatsoever. And so what would happen was, if I would find myself in a financial trouble, I would rush back to my stocks. Now, if you know easy equities, when you look at the way that it's structured, it's more so for long term. So if you're going to invest short term, you might end up losing money. And that is what I used to actually incur. I used to actually experience that because I would find myself in a situation whereby I need money. Like, let's say, for instance, a family member passed on and I need to help with the funeral. I would go back to my investments and take from there in order for me to help my mother. So you see that as much as I was saving, but my savings were not visible because I would constantly go back to them in order for me to do whatever that I needed to do or to help wherever I needed to help. And so there's also another point that I just wanted to touch on. Like, if you want financial freedom and you want to start the journey of financial freedom, I would say that if you have a lot of debt, rather focus your attention on tackling some of that debt. Like for me, what I did was, the first thing that I started doing was I tackled all my small debt. So I had retail debt. So when I say retail debt, I had an account with Mr. Price, I had an account with Edgar's. And my account with Mr. Price was around 4,000 that I was owing. With Edgar's was less than 1,000. I actually went and I paid off those things when I still had my salary back then, which was not a lot. I decided that, you know what, if I'm going to start this journey, let me actually start with the small things that I can actually see progress on. So I got rid of those debts because for me they didn't make sense. I used those accounts and I felt it ate up on me, knowing that every month now I have to service these things. And so I would say that if you really do want to make changes in your finances, get rid of those debts. Get rid of retail debts. You don't need a Woolworths account. You don't need an Edgar's account. You don't need a Foschini account. You don't need all these accounts. Yes, we've been told that we need these accounts, but you actually do not need these accounts. We've convinced our mind that we cannot do clothes shopping without having an account because then we can't afford it. Actually, that actually should be your cue. That if I can't afford to pay for this thing cash, then I can't afford it. That's how I go about my life now. I look at everything that I want. If I want to buy clothes and I go to the shop and I can't afford to buy those things cash, then I'm not buying them. I leave. If I want to buy furniture, my furniture right now is just, it's bad. But I don't get bothered because I'm just if I can't afford to buy this thing cash, then I'm not buying it. So that's how I go about my life. So I would say that if you have those retail debts, get rid of them. Get rid of those things because those are the things that are going to eat away at your money. And then another big point that hit for me is when I realized I will never earn enough. And I don't think that many of us understand this because we are always thinking, let me get the next job. Let me get the higher job. If I can get this job, then I'll be able to, live comfortably. And then we forget that there's this law, is it Parkinson's law or something? But there's a law that says that expenses will always rise based on the demand. So the more money that you have, your expenses will rise to meet that money. And so you will never earn enough. If we're just being honest, you will never earn enough because as you earn as your salary goes up, and so are your expenses. And I think most people don't think about this whenever they get a higher salary or an increase. They automatically adjust to that increase. I don't know how it happens, but you find that you've had this increase and you've adjusted to it and you don't see its impact. You don't see where it went. All of a sudden, it's like you never got an increase. That's how fast this whole thing of expenses meeting your demand. And so I realized then that, you know what, I will never earn enough. And also, I realized this, which also was a changing point for me. If I'm failing to manage my finances now in the salary that I have now, then I'm never going to win with money. I'm never going to win with money. No matter how much money I get paid, I will never win because I do not know I haven't learned how to manage the little that I get now, which is not little when you look at other people and other people's salaries. But looking at how much I'm earning now and where I want to get to in terms of my career, it is little. But if I'm failing to manage it now, then no matter how much salary I get, I will always be in financial, I will never be satisfied. So that is when I decided that, you know what, I need to start making changes now. So now that you understand what is financial freedom, well, how I explain financial freedom for me, what motivated me, and what are the steps that I took back then. Now, I just want to tell you my strategy. What is my strategy to make sure that I get that ultimate financial freedom, because I'm far away from it, but I do know that it's possible. Because as I said, for me, my financial freedom for me means that I get to wake up every day and go to work because I want to and not because I have to. Two different things. So what are my strategies? First plan was to minimize my debt. That's my first plan. First plan was to tackle my debts, because my debts were the things that were crippling me. I wanted to do things, I wanted to move things, I wanted to invest, I wanted to save. But the more that I looked at it, the more that I was saving, the more that I was actually owing. And so you couldn't really see the difference. And so my goal was to tackle my debt. And I think that's what I've been doing, and I've done it so well. And not that because I earned this high amount of money and then now I'm able to pay off this debts. No, I've been earning this salary. Well, I shifted from my previous salaries 4 years ago. Not even 4 years ago, about 3 years ago, I shifted from that salary to this salary. And when I got here, I made changes. I made big changes in order for my finances to look so much better. And that is to tackle my debt. Now, what I did was, if you not familiar with how I tackled my personal loan, please go watch that video. I'm going to try and remember to link it down below, because that video does talk about how I actually dealt with that debt. And then also my credit card from Capitec, please go check that video out. That is what I did. Not that because I got, I have this monies and what. What I decided was rechanneling my money. So the way that I was able to deal with that big debt, which was my personal loan, what I did was, when I got my payout, when I bought this house, a large sum of it went into paying for that loan. When I got an increase, when I got a promotion to this job that I'm in, I doubled my installment instead of paying the minimum. I got my bonus, I put it in the loan. That's how I got to deal with my debts, not because I'm getting paid a lot of money. No, when I got my increase, when I got my promotion, instead of going and buying a car, I decided to tackle a debt. Instead of going and buying nice furniture, I decided to tackle my debts. Another thing another strategy that I'm also implementing, which I've been implementing, is to live below my means. Now, when I look at my living expenses in conjunction with how much I get paid, it is well below my means. Well below my means. And I know that with many people struggle with this. Many people are living beyond their means. And when I say you are living beyond their means, that means that what comes in and your lifestyle, they don't match up. Instead, your lifestyle is here and what comes in is here. And that is why we find ourselves rushing towards credit cards in order for us to substitute, to fill up that gap that exists between our living expenses or our lifestyle and what we get paid. And so we use credit card, we use debt in order for us to fill that gap. So what I did was, I actually looked at my salary and said, you know what? I want to live within my means. I want to live below my means. So that is where I am now. When I look at my life, because I've tackled so much debt, I've dealt with debt, I've made sacrifices to deal with debt, and I've been strategic with dealing with debt, such that if I am going to take money from somewhere, I'm going to make sure that I deal with that debt, and I'm not going to open that door again. Once I shut it, I shut it. So because I've dealt with all that debt, now I am able to live well below my means. And that means now that I'm also able to save more. I'm able to save more every month because I am living well below my means. And then the last thing that I did, which is my strategy, was I started building my emergency fund. Now, back then I didn't have my emergency fund. When I was still tackling my debts, I didn't start with my emergency fund, didn't start saving. Actually, I paused most of savings. The only thing I had was a stokvel. So I paused most of my savings because I felt like I needed to channel most of my money to tackling debt. Once I've tackled that debt, it will free up so much money. I remember my personal loan, I was paying for like 4,000. When I finished that debt, 4,000 went back to my pocket. That's money that I could save now. I finished my other credit card from Capitec, which was 1,800. When I finished that 1,800 went back to my pocket, which is money that I could save now, So that is how I'm able to save over 6,000 per month, which I know for some people it's low. But based on my living expenses and everything, that is how much I can afford to save now. That's how much I can afford to save now. And for me, that is good because I know that there's some people who struggle to save even as little as 500 with the salary that I'm getting paid. So I'm able to save more now. I'm able to build my emergency fund. So here, what I'm trying to say here is, if you have debts and you have all these things eating away at your money, rather than going to easy equities, look your investor, pause, relax. Rather than going to crypto and investing and putting in money there, pause, relax. And I used to not understand when Nicolette used to say this, like, can you do both? And she will explain to say that, well, yeah, you can do both, but you won't see much difference, because as you are owing, you are paying, it's eating away from the money that could be coming to you, and you're busy trying to invest here. You're not going to see progress. So rather pause on these things, these big things of investing. You will get to it, but rather tackle your debt first. Once you've tackled your debt, rechannel that money towards now saving and investing. That is where you're going to see progress. So that is what I've started doing. Instead of saying, okay, Instead of saying I'm going to tackle the debts while I invest, it didn't work. I tried that. I tried being on easy equities while I was having all of that debt. It didn't work. It didn't work at all. And so now that I don't have all of that debt, I'm able to actually save and invest. So the first thing that I'm doing is I'm building my emergency fund. Before I get into easy equities, which I've paused as well, because easy equities is for long term, I've paused that, and I said, you know what, I'm going to channel my money towards actually saving for my emergency fund. I'm also going to invest for my daughter. So that is long-term investments. And then I'm able to save. Now, most of my savings, which is with the stokvels, they are short-term savings, not long-term savings. And there's my strategy is going to change next year, because there's a lot that needs to change when it comes to my savings. The thing is here, I didn't have an emergency fund before, and I couldn't afford to save for an emergency fund because I was so focused on tackling my debts. But now, because I don't have that much debt, I'm able to actually save towards building my emergency fund. Those are the strategies that I'm putting in place in order for me to work towards actually having financial freedom for my life. Okay, I think we've reached the end of this video, or basically the points that I wanted to touch on. Now, I'm making this video because I'm hoping that it will inspire someone out there who is just, struggling with their finances, just don't think things could be possible for them. I wanted to tell you that it is possible. However, you need to start thinking differently when you look at your finances and your life, and then start making decisions that are going to be beneficial for you and prolong instant gratification. So with that being said, I hope that you found value in this video. Until I see you on the next one, please take care and stay safe. Bye.